about writing the AgriEnergy story, and it has to start on chapter 1 with Dave Larson, who is the founder of AgriEnergy Resources. And today is going to be kind of special because some people with some pretty intimate connections to him will be here throughout the day. They're not all here yet. Chapter 2, we talked about Dave's frustrations in trying to raise a lot of corn, and so he grabbed his friend Bill Fordham, and they decided to go on a trip to around the Midwest. And so they hopped in a van with the best of intentions, and they visited a lot of people. This is kind of a list that Bill Fordham was kind enough to put together for us of the different things they saw, the people they talked to, and the things they learned. And basically those are the things that were the premise for the founding of AgriEnergy. And there is a copy of that trip itinerary on this first table over here if you're interested in reading some of those. One of Dave's papers that tells his journey, including about this, mentioning the trip, is called Low Cost, High Yield Farming. It talks about his personal background and what he was doing at the time, and how his attempt to increase yields was going backward. There's a copy of that also if you don't know the story, because it gives you an insight into AgriEnergy's philosophies. Chapter 3 of our book, Writing the AgriEnergy Story, would be Dave and Bill coming back home and deciding to implement some of the ideas they picked up from these other people on their farm. And in order to do that, they needed a group of guinea pigs to kind of try these things out besides them, the two of them. And so Dave also had a farm management business, so he used the tenant farmers on all of those farms to do some. And one of the most famous guinea pigs was AgriEnergy's general manager, Dean Craine. And at the dealer meeting, he shared a lot of the details of the funny things that Dave had them doing. So that might be something you want to ask him about. Chapter 4 was the pro-farmer days. And Jerry Carlson, whose grandson Blake is here today, was instrumental in getting Dave involved in speaking at pro-farmer seminars. And one of those speeches led to the addition of Ken Musselman to our AgriEnergy family. And he had first heard about Dave by listening to a tape of a pro-farmer seminar and got extremely excited about what Dave was saying. So chapter 5 of Writing Our Story would be the commitment. And numerous people were starting to recognize that Dave was a man that was outstanding in his field. And one of those people was Ray Retker from Southern Indiana, who unfortunately we lost a couple years ago. But Ray and another gentleman from Indiana talked Dave into making products that would help people apply the principles. And so in the fall of '87, Dave made the commitment, okay, I'll go ahead, we'll make some products. And that spring of '88, we were making products and we were shipping them to several farmers. Chapter 6 would be of Writing the Story is the seminars, because that was kind of our very first form of communication that we started. And in fact, the first seminar was held that very summer, and it was in the machine shed at Dave Larson's farm, which is now the warehouse for AgriEnergy. And we continued having seminars throughout the years, summertime, wintertime, 1, 2, 6, various combinations, which brings us up today to our invitation to seminars, and that one of them's already been canceled and rescheduled. But regarding the seminars, there was we'll talk about that later. Okay, and so Chapter 7 then is making things official. And that meant that we had a logo, we got a logo that has some significant meanings. We had a vision and mission and a value statement, and those are stated on some of these banners. And then we needed a group of dealers. And so we had a group, in our very first meeting of the distributors was in the 1990, and those are some of the people that attended, and unfortunately you'll see several of them are gone. But Craig Vogt, the one at the top, is in Iowa, and he's still an active dealer. I'd say semi-retired, but he is still active. And today, our dealer network has about 120 current and potential dealers and distributors over a much, much wider area of the country. And one of those dealer distributors that we were all hoping to see today when we had the seminar in Minnesota was Doug Gunnick from the Gaylord, Lafayette, Gibbon area, but unfortunately we lost him about 2.5 weeks ago when he was killed in a farm accident on January 19th. So for any of you that knew Doug, we would ask you to keep his wife Janet and his son Zach and his son Andy and the rest of his family in your thoughts. Chapter 9 is communicating. So besides the seminars, we started with Dave would do some writings, and this one's called Alternative Futures for Agriculture. And this was the opening statement that he presented at that very first seminar. And it gives you a deep insight into the man and into the philosophies. And there is a copy of that one on the table if you are interested in it. But there were numerous papers to come. And I, for one, can tell you that this is before word processing and computers. And I typed most of these. And that took a lot longer because there wasn't spell check on my typewriter, for one thing. And of all of these, there are various things that people have seen and heard over the years. In '89, we started having a more formal newsletter. That was the first one. And Blake Carlson's grandfather, Jerry Carlson, the pro-farmer, ex-pro-farmer, I think he's called editor emeritus or something, but he was the one that helped us put this together. And we kind of did them quarterly, but sometimes more often, sometimes less often. This is one of the last ones to show the evolution of it, and that was in 2009. And it was at that point that we transitioned to having an electronic newsletter, which we called Groundwork. And we try to make each groundwork have one single subject and make it short and readable when it comes through your email. And we usually do about one a week. Sometimes it's every 2 weeks, sometimes it's 5 a week. I mean, depends what's going on. But if you are not on our groundwork and you would like to be, you go to the agrienergy.net website. You follow on the top bar where it says groundwork, and then there will be all of the past groundworks, and then over on the right there's a place where you can sign up so you can receive the Groundwork newsletter. Chapter 10 of our story is biologicals and microbials, those products. They are our basis, and we have several of them with SP1 residues and mycoseed treat being our bread and butter, and those will be highlighted throughout the day. Chapter 11 are the other products that we have, and we have products for biological farming. Whoops, got carried away. Products for biological farming, that is using some traditional conventional farming methods, but incorporating biology into that to make yourselves more profitable, and also for those people who choose organic farming. We have a line of products for them too. So chapter 12 of our story is kind of our story in pictures. And a lot of you have seen these pictures before, and you've heard the explanations, and you'll probably see all of these pictures again today in one form or another. But when they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, often that is the case. And so we try to use pictures as much as possible, because not everybody can be out in the field at a given day in the summer to see this in action. So we do our best to take some photos that will portray our story to you folks. And probably one of the coolest things was when we did some experiments on the AgriEnergy farm, and were able to grow corn with, and it was like 200 bushel, and at the time that was good, with only 35 pounds of added nitrogen. So chapter 13 then of our story is called The First Transition. And that transition started on February 8th, 1996, when unfortunately Dave Larson dropped dead totally unexpectedly at the age of 56. And so Dave and his wife Carolyn, who were the founders and the owners of the company, began a transition to Paul and Barb Ailey being the owners of the company. And I'm going to go back one, but okay, look at Carolyn Larson, and then look at Paul Ailey. And if you see a resemblance, it's because Paul is Carolyn's sister. So it's still kind of an all-in-the-family deal. Brother, yeah. He's the brother, she's the sister, yeah. Thank you. Anyway, then chapter 14 is going to be the second transition, and Dean Craine is going to tell you about that.
Thanks, Mardel. Yeah, some of you may be aware that we are having a transition, and we've been looking for quite some time to do this. Throw an umbrella up there. AgriEnergy obviously has been a very small company on the grand scale of things for years. We've known that we needed to somehow get paired up with a bigger entity in order to have more backing, more research, more funding, more everything. So Paul Ailey, who you just saw in the picture, we've been on a mission probably at least 5 years, seriously the last 2 or 3, of just watching for a partner, someone else to get together with. And we looked past a couple, but we fell into, about 2 years ago, an individual, which a year ago then led to Douglas Products. So Douglas Products does now own AgriEnergy. They also own Growth Products, the symbol there to the right. It's a neat combination. We have the pleasure of picking our new partners. We're under a much bigger umbrella. It's a growing company. They have a huge vision for what they want to do with this. We're the part of the plant health division under Douglas Products. Douglas Products has other divisions as well. But the combination of the two companies, AgriEnergy and Growth Products, makes this up. The beauty of it is it's a very synergistic relationship. AgriEnergy to the left, we're primarily agriculture. We're primarily in the Midwest. Growth Products is primarily turf and ornamental, primarily in the East. They have some presence on the West Coast as well. Should throw in there, but we'll have warehouse locations scattered across the country now. Being Growth Products, their headquarters is in New York. They also have a division in Florida. Douglas Products is in the Kansas City area with large warehousing. Also out in Pittsburgh, California. And another one on the East Coast somewhere. So we're going to have ability to move products, eventually make products closer to customers, it's going to be a good relationship. So we're looking forward to more tech support. We're going to have an official research department. We've always done research, but it's been kind of default, whoever's involved. We'll have dedicated research. Obviously, we'll have more products immediately in our lineup because of the things coming from the other company. We'll be using some of theirs. They'll be using some of ours. Be working out, and with the research, we'll have more products to come. You'll see more media exposure, more marketing efforts, hopefully better freight options. We're always looking to try to save freight any way we can for the customers. So if there's any questions on that, we see it as a good thing. So we have the pleasure of picking who we're working with, so we're hoping it'll all work out well.